Salutations, YouTube. Finally. This is Bill 69, entry number 15. So, Simon and I have completed our next 3 games in our Bill 69 quest. We kind of suffered some setbacks again with some weeks not being able to get together and stuff, but for the most part we've been pretty consistent with our gameplay. So we'll get right to the games first, and then we'll talk later about the future of Bill 69 as we kind of near its completion. So the first game up that we completed this time around, the first of the 3, is a game I always very much knew about, but never got around to playing. And we've already completed 2 games from this series in this Bill 69 series of vlogs. And let's just get right to it. It is Contra 3, The Alien Wars. The story behind this game is that it is the year 2636, I believe, and the alien forces led by Red Falcon are severely pissed off. They've already been defeated twice, and you know what? They are ready for a full-out invasion of Earth, and they're pulling out all the stops, and they're just coming. They're coming hard. They're coming fast. So the Earth has to mobilize to avert what has just begun, and that is the Alien Wars. That is what has just begun with this massive attack by Red Falcon and his forces. You take 2 fellows into this war to turn these aliens away, and in this version of the game, it's not our familiar 2 friends that we've played the first 2 games with, Bill and Lance, but their descendants. I'm drawing a blank on their names right now, but they're descendants of our first 2 heroes from the first 2 games, and they're the ones that are picking up where our previous 2 left off, and they're going to be the ones that see the Earth through the Alien Wars. So this game, it's a little shorter than other Contra games. There's only 6 levels. 4 of them are side-scrolling, 2 of them are top-down, which is always kind of the way Contra works. Most of the levels are side-scrolling platformers, but they do usually feature a couple of top-down type levels, which Simon and I both really like. We're fans of that kind of aspect. And the environments you kind of face off in, there's a ruined cityscape. There is a industrial facility that's kind of raised up in the air. It's a lot of jumping and stuff. There is one level where you're on a kind of blown up highway and you're riding a hoverbike through it, and that level ends as you climb onto the bottom of a helicopter and finish the rest of the level hanging on to that helicopter. And then the final level, of course, is in the belly of the beast in the alien's lair. And then as for the 2 top-down levels, like I said, they do these in Contra games, but seeing that this was the first Contra game on the Super Nintendo, they kind of utilized the left-right buttons on the tops of the controller, which the NES didn't have. So what you could do is use those buttons to kind of spin the whole environment around. So that was kind of a new feature for the game. And the environments you have in those top-down levels, it's another ruined kind of cityscape, and then one's like a sandy desert kind of place. And they're a little different in that you just don't have to get to the end of them, but you have to go around the level, and you can use a map and destroy all the portals that are spawning the enemies. And then once you destroy all those portals, the boss will arrive, and you will take the boss down. The bosses in the game are pretty cool. There's this weird giant turtle thing that's all tricked out with armaments. A Terminator type looking boss. This weird blob with an eye in the middle that has all these claws it shoots out at you, and other weird alien stuff like that too. And as per the usual, there's lots of pickups to get, most of them weapon related. There's the spreader gun, the fire gun, the homing missiles, laser, and then maybe one more. You can also get the bomb that as soon as you grab it, it just destroys everything on the screen. And then I believe there's also a shield that gives you a temporary one hit kind of grace. and then also an invincibility one that gives you a brief time where you cannot be hit by anything or destroyed by anyone. So, yeah, so you basically take your two guys into the fray as usual and get her done. Um, like I said, we've beaten the two previous Contra games, the original Contra and then Super C, both of which were on the NES. This is the first game, the Alien Wars, that showed up on the Super Nintendo. And in case I didn't mention it, I don't know if I did. It was 1992. The game was released, and of course by Konami. So yeah, I'm, as you know from previous videos, if you watch them, I can't get enough of Contra. I love the series. I love Konami as a game developer. So this was just a logical progression in one of the games that we would play over the course of our Bill 69 adventure. So switching over to the next game. This one I did not know existed, and it is based on a cartoon from around the time I was in high school, back in the kind of early to mid 1990s. Played on YTV here in Canada during the afternoon kind of block that had all sorts of other kind of unique cartoons like Botsmaster and Cadillacs and Dinosaurs and stuff like that, Biker Mice from Mars. But this one is based on a series that was short-lived, like a lot of those other ones were, and featured a green walking rabbit who liked to ply the space lanes and defend freedom. And the game is Bucky O'Hare. As I mentioned, Bucky O'Hare was a cartoon series from the early to mid 90s, and it takes place within this kind of animalverse or whatever. But anyways, it's a universe that's populated entirely by animals, but they all walk on two legs and they can talk and everything like that. Bucky O'Hare is a freedom fighter. He's defending the universe against Sky Marshal and his evil Toad army, who want to rule the universe and take everything over. And in this game, it's pretty much just standard fare. Sky Marshal and the Toad army attack Bucky's ship, the Righteous Indignation, and in the process of the battle, all of Bucky's allies get scattered to different planets. So your first task in the game is to visit these 4 planets, traipse across their different environments, and eventually free the ally that got trapped on that planet. And then once you have done that, they then become a playable character going forward throughout the rest of the levels. So on the blue planet, it's Jenny is trapped there. On the red planet, it's Deadeye Duck. On the blue planet, it's Blinky, the droid or robot, whatever he is. And then on the yellow planet, it's Willy DeWitt, the human. The blue planet, of course, is an ice planet. Red is lava. Green is like a forest one. And then the yellow one is actually like a futuristic technologically advanced kind of planet. Each planet has between like 6 and 10 acts or levels, I guess, to it. Some of them can be really short, some of them can be long. The game's really random that way, and yeah. So like I said, once you get you rescue each character, they join the team, and then once you rescue all 4, you take off again for freedom aboard your ship. But once again, Sky Marshal attacks just when you think the game might be coming to a close. It is not. There's just as much game to go as you've already played. So Sky Marshal attacks, and he takes Blinky and Bucky captive, and then the other 3 they take for experimentation. So you take over again as Bucky and Blinky. You have to escape imprisonment and then go through the facility or the ship or wherever you are, and rescue your 3 friends who, like I said, they've been being experimented on, and they've actually turned them bad for a time being. So you actually have to face off as the bosses against your friends before reclaiming them once again into your ranks. There are about 32 acts, I believe, as you escape imprisonment and eventually reclaim all 3 of your missing allies. Then there are 7 more acts in the game to play after you reclaim all your allies, as you kind of escape the crumbling Toad Armada, and then finally face off against Sky Marshal as the final boss of the game. Um, the enemies you face are all kind of mostly animalistic in nature. Some of them robotic, most of them alive, flesh and bones. And of course, a lot of them belong to the Toad Army, of course, because that is the ultimate evil in the game. That's taken it to you, so to speak. And there's a few bosses along the way. Alligator, Toadborg, big toad spaceship that's really hard. And yeah, and the benefit of adding each ally to your playable character ranks is that they all have different abilities that come in handy at different points during the game. Like Bucky can jump really high, Blinky can hover for a little while, Deadeye Duck can like grab onto walls and go up and down a bit, and some of their weapons are different. And some of them shoot down, some of them are like a spreader. Like, so they all have different abilities that you kind of have to get used to as you move through the game and attempt to beat it. And this game is hard too. It's long and it's hard, so you do have to get used to everybody's abilities and figure out the easiest way to kind of make it through, because yeah, it's not easy. So that is Bucky O'Hare. Now, third and final game of this. Oh, and by the way, maybe I did mention this again, but maybe not. Bucky O'Hare was released in 1992. Once again, 1992, same as the Alien Wars, by Konami, another similarity, for the NES. So that is when that one came out and who released it. So I'm out of practice for my vlogs, I guess. But yeah, that's the details on that. So, but anyways, moving along. Last game of the three. This is one neither of us knew about, because I think Simon knew about Bucky O'Hare, if I'm not mistaken, but neither of us knew about this game. We just kind of found it on my Nintendo Switch, the the online libraries they have that you can play, and it's a Super Nintendo game. Once again, from the year 1992. Only this one was released by Jaleco, and it is called Brawl Brothers. Brawl Brothers is apparently a sequel to a game called Rival Turf, and the two characters that recur from the first game are Doug and I forget the other guy's name, but their nicknames are Hack and Slash, of course. So they live in Bayside City, and they are, like I said, carryover heroes from the first game. In this second game, they're starting to get a little suspicious because three of their best buddies that attend the same dojo that they work out of have gone suddenly missing, and there's all this scuttlebutt on the streets about a mysterious organization kidnapping people to clone them and stuff. So you take your two heroes, hit the streets, and figure out what's going on and put a stop to it. So in this game, you actually don't have to pick the two main guys off the bat. You can pick any of the five characters in the game off the bat, right off the bat, and then the three characters you don't pick will be the ones that are kind of kidnapped and work into the storyline in that fashion. So you're not limited to using just those two original characters to start the game. Brawl Brothers contains, it's pretty short. It contains 4 stages. The stages themselves are pretty good length, so it's not like they're 4 short stages. They're actually longer, and the game's not easy too. We thought we were just going to walk right through it, but we didn't. It took us a good amount of effort to beat this game. So although it only has 4 stages, they are longer, and the game is challenging enough, so you do feel like you get your bang for the buck out of it. The first stage, you start off in Bayside City. You're on the streets, then you cross a bridge, and then I forget the last part of the city. Oh, and then you go down into the sewers. The second part, you move on a military installation. You start at the gym, then the training field, then you take a lift up to like the airfield sort of thing. Third stage, you move over to their aircraft storage facility, where you eventually work your way towards the rooftops. And the final level actually takes place up in the sky as you climb aboard a ship called the Adler, which is where the ultimate enemy in this boss is working out of. All of the enemies in the game are different types of enemy soldiers or thugs from this organization that's up to no good. Some of them have weapons, some of them don't. There's lots of variation in body size and stuff like that. Some of them even have like some mech armor that they're wearing and stuff like that. So yeah, you have to get used to which enemies have which tendencies, and definitely especially be careful of the ones with weapons, especially the ones that have grenades and guns, because they can light you up pretty good if you're not careful. The game itself has lots of pickups. Health, there's chicken, there's chocolate, there's cheese, and they all fill up your health bar to various degrees. And then the other main pickup are weapons. Sometimes they'll just be lying around, but most times you beat up on an enemy who's carrying one, and then you can steal it from them. There's bats, knives, shotguns, steel pipes. There's even some dumbbells or barbells you can throw at people, which I can't imagine would feel pretty good. So just take your two characters through the 4 stages. At the end of each stage, you rescue one of your kidnapped friends, and then they become a playable character moving forward if you want to change to them. And and then you just face the ultimate bad guy in the air aboard the Adler, and then you have a chance to beat the game. So Jalico is a company that I don't have a lot of their games. I'm just looking right now, and I literally only see one. I was always very aware of them because the game I do have of theirs is an NES game, and it's a very early one that my dad brought home for me one time when I was a kid, called Bases Loaded, a baseball game. And I really love that game. I played a ton of it over the years. And so even though I only had that one Jalico game, I was always very aware of them as a company, as existing and being a game developer. So so when I saw this game was made by Jalico, I thought that was pretty neat. And to give Jalico credit on this game, the game very much looked and felt and had the vibe of a Capcom game, which is a huge compliment because Capcom is arguably the best game developer of all time, right? Like, they have so many good games. Just the Mega Man series alone, puts them heading above heads above anybody else, in my opinion, although Konami is sniffing at their heels. So that was kind of the biggest compliment I could pay them on that game, is that it very much felt like it could have been a Capcom game. Controls were good, sound was good, graphics were good. It was just a really fun experience, and of course, being a 2-player co-op just made it all the better. That's what I'm finding about these modern games, on the PS4 and the Switch and stuff like that, is that a lot of games that you think, oh, this has got to have a 2-player co-op mode because this game looks perfect for that, and then you fire it up and it's like the only multiplayer they have is online multiplayer. So it's like you can't sit on your couch with your buddy or your family and play this game 2-player. You have to play with somebody online somewhere. Like, it's so stupid. So that's what I really like about these retro games too. Not that I have good memories of them and had fun playing them as a kid, but being able to play them with somebody else sitting on a couch and not having to worry about an internet connection and all that bullshit and playing with a stranger or whatever. It's just such a better experience. And I kind of wish, developers could take some lessons, from that, because to me that's a lot more fun than playing online. So those are the 3 games that we completed this time around. And I also mentioned I want to talk about the future of Bill 69. So if you do the math, this is the 15th installment, 3 games apiece. So that's now 45 games we've completed. So that means we have 24 left to play. So as we were coming to the end of this current set of completions, we thought, shit, we should really sit down and submit, each of us, which games we still want to play that are like must-haves for us, right? Like games we have to play and include on this list. So we did so, and we came up with over a dozen of the 24 that are for sure's, plus a whole bunch of others that we're going to have to decide on which ones are we're going to keep and which ones we're going to throw out, and just play later as separately after this is all over. So so that's kind of where we're at. So in this last part of Bill 69, with the next number of entries, especially as we lead up right towards the end, there's going to be some of our very favorite games that are going to be coming along and entering the fray. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting. And some of them right now, some of the ones I'm thinking that are probably going to come near the end, like there's a couple big ones that I never completed, probably never came close to completing, that I'm super excited about getting a chance to beat. And then one, which is arguably my favorite game of all time, I only beat it once or twice as a kid. It was a pretty epic adventure to do that. So it would be fun to do that again, all these years later. And Simon never saw me beat it, so he'll get to experience, the completion of that game as well. So, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. So we're starting to pick and choose very carefully about what games come along in these last, I guess it's going to be 24 divided by 3 in the last 8 videos. So so stay tuned. I don't know, it usually takes us a few months or whatever to get through a few completions. So when I say stay tuned, it's like not stay tuned immediately because it's coming next week. It's going to be a while, but it will definitely be coming. Toodles.